my name is Eric, and I'm doing another one of my photography vlogs called One Body, One Lens, One Roll, One Day. I am here at Burchard Park in Fremont, park I used to visit when I was a kid, riding my bike here with a sack lunch, eat lunch, snacks, whatever, playground, jungle gym, tennis courts, basketball courts, fun place to hang out for a couple hours and then, bike home. Today's camera is a Nikon Fg-20, came out in the mid-1980s. I think 82 to 84 was the window, so 3 years, maybe 4, which is kind of a short lifespan for most film cameras. The average lifespan of a film camera, at least production life anyway, was more like 5 to 8 or 9 years. Some of them went longer. There's some film cameras that were in production for almost 20 years, but the average was probably closer to the 5 to 10 window. So Nikon Fg-20. Today's lens is a autofocus lens, which I'm putting on a manual focus body because it does have an aperture ring on it, so I can control it. But anyway, it's a 28 to 300 Promaster XR EDO, and as I mentioned in a couple of previous episodes, Promaster and Quantaray and a couple of the other brands didn't make lenses. They bought lenses from other manufacturers and put their name on it to kind of make it a house brand or a store brand, if you want to call it that. Sears lenses, I think, were made by Ricoh. This guy is pretty much a Tamron in disguise, but it's got an amazingly long range, 28 to 300. I don't have to change lenses with this guy. So if you're only going to walk around with one lens, and you don't need the speed of like a traditional 50, something like this or equivalent all-in-one lens can be kind of cool to hang around. Today's film, slide film, not had good luck. I'm still not having great luck with it. Mixed results, but it is some Fuji Provia that I was was donated to me to do as part of this project. So I'm going to shoot it up and see what I get. I've got it rated at 100 because that's what Provia is. Let me go see what I can get. Okay, so having a 28 to 300 allows you to do the wide shot and allows you to get really close to something. Hopefully I'll have some nice comparison shots going wide and going long on the same subject. I just did one on the playground area right over there, stayed wide, zoomed in. Hopefully they come out and you can kind of see the comparison between the two. All right, let's walk that way. Let's go see what we can get. So this is obviously a stage that got put up many years ago, and they used to do Shakespeare in the Park here. They would do like little live performance bands. So there's all sorts of things could go on, discussions and talks and stuff like that. Really cool place. I've seen a Shakespeare in the Park that was done here. They moved to a different stage, but it's a really cool place to do stuff like that. Check them out. I'm going to get a couple shots kind of like right here, stairwells and stuff like that, trees and signs and stuff like that. I'll be right back. Now the nice thing about Nikon cameras and a few others is the fact that they have pretty decent cross compatibility between manual focus gear and autofocus gear and even into the digital gear. So this is a manual focus camera from the 1980s. The lens is an autofocus lens, probably from the mid to late 90s, more designed towards the N65, N60s, kind of more the consumer grade ones because they would pair it up and you wouldn't carry around 2 or 3 lenses in this big bag. You would carry around one lens in a small little bag. So it's a lot easier for people that had other stuff, like parents that had kids or other stuff that they're carrying around, to carry one lens and just be ready for everything, as opposed to having 2 lenses and having to switch. Because this is an F-mount autofocus lens, that still does work on a lot of the Nikon DSLR cameras. Now this particular lens needs a gear drive autofocus. So any of the autofocus film bodies were great. And when you got into the digital, the early digitals, the D100s, the D50s, the D300s, the D80s, they all had the gear drive. When the 3000 and 5000 series cameras came out, they wanted the motor inside the lens, the AFS motors. And while this lens would meet her, you would lose your autofocus, which to me is not a bad thing, especially if it's just a lens that you really, really like, you know, just didn't mind manually focusing it. And there's still a lot of people that I know that held on to their old, you know, 50mm 1.4s from manual days because it produces a really cool result, but they put it on their digital bodies and just kind of treat it like an all manual guy. All right, I'm gonna go that way a little bit. Be right back. So the nice thing about carrying around one lens like this is that you're not carrying around a big, you know, backpack or something like I do. Only reason why I carry on the big backpack is it carries the video camera and stuff like that too. But if you just had the one body and the one lens like the vlog title, you know, promotes, then you don't need to carry around something like this. You could carry it around a small little pouch bag, very, very minimalist if you want to call it that. You know, carrying a small little, you know, square bag like a 3-liter or 4-liter type bag or sling, even small backpack. That way you just got your camera, you got your lens, you've got maybe a couple rolls of film as you're out doing your walks and stuff like that. So that's the nice thing, is that you don't have to carry around a lot of equipment, especially with something like this, where some of the other kits, where if you went for like, you know, the professional bodies like the F100 or the F5 or the EOS 3, and you carry around the 2.8 glass, and now you're, you know, carrying around 15 pounds of gear. And I have stuff like that, especially for my digital system. And when I load up, and I've got a bigger backpack for it, when I take my full frame body, my 2 fast lenses, my medium format film, and its 2 lenses, yeah, that backpack can weigh like 35 pounds or so. But I usually only do that when I go out with the purpose of shooting. So when I'm either doing vlogs like this, or I go out shoot somebody's senior photos, or I shoot somebody's wedding, I'm gonna have my full kit with me. Now today is my go bag, which is a smaller backpack with just a body lens. I actually got the 50mm for this guy too, floating around, and a couple rolls of film, because I know that I'm just on my way to someplace, and I figured I'd stop by here, do a vlog episode, and then, you know, keep going to, you know, my destination. So just designed to carry with me and you know, just be ready for anything. It's like when you find the parks like this, or you know about the parks like this, it's like, hey, I'm a little early, let me go do this. All right, I'm gonna head that way a little bit. Let me get some more shots. Be right back. Okay, so Provia, which is the slide film that I'm shooting, it was a very kind of more natural slide film from Fuji, as opposed to Velvia, which was a super saturated. Ostia is kind of more your normal. Provia is kind of more to be just a smidge softer. However, being expired, I don't know how these are going to turn out. Again, I have not had great luck shooting slides for this project, but I will continue to do so as I come across some slide film. It does go through different chemistry. So as with previous episodes, I'm going to be shooting it. Right now it's late May, but it'll be 4 or 5 weeks before I get the film back. So this episode may not post until, you know, kind of late June. All right, let me go that way. Be right back. All right, so last episode that I was here, it probably got posted a month or 2 ago. A storm had just come through, so there was debris all over the place, and a fallen tree or two. You can tell that's all nice and cleaned up now. So Fremont Parks District did a really good job of re-cleaning this park back up after that. And you know, those things happen. So you know, when heavy storms and stuff like that go through your parks, sometimes it's cool to go take photos of the fallen trees and stuff like that. Otherwise, wait a week or 2. In this case, it was probably about 2 months ago, and it's all nice and clean up. All right, I am on shot 34 of roll of 36. So I got 2 shots more, maybe 3 if I get an extra shot or 2. Let me see what I can get. Being it's early in the day, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting some cool, nice cross shadows across the trees and stuff like that. You can maybe kind of see it from the video. So hopefully I'll get some nice contrast in the film. 1 or 2 shots left. Give me a second, I'm gonna shoot it that way. Cool shadows in the grass. And that is the end of my roll. I've hit some hard tension. I'm not going to force it because otherwise I'll probably break the roll of film out. Now remember, with old manual film cameras, the way you rewind it, typically there is a release button on the bottom. This one's right here, so right there. I'm going to push. I tend to hold it in myself, but you should be able to just push it in. It should stay in. And then as many shots as you had is about as many rewinds as you have. So this was a roll of 36, so probably somewhere around 36, which is right about now. I can feel it let go. I always tend to go a couple extra spins just to make sure all the film's in the canister before I open it up. Lift up, spring it open, there's your film. Again, some Fuji Provia 100F. I totally forgot about that designation. This is some expired film, and I do not know how it was kept. Unfortunately, I do not know the expiration date of said film, so I didn't make any corrections for it. All the stuff that I read says with slide film, shoot it at rated, hope for the best. So that's what I did. I shot it rated, and I'm kind of hoping for the best. We'll see what happens when I get the results back. Anyway, if I get some cool results, feel free to give them a thumbs up. Feel free to comment on your experience with Fuji slide film. New Fuji slide film's really hard to get a hold of right now. Whenever the shop that I work at gets it in, it's like maybe 20 rolls at a time. Within 3 days, it's all gone, and then we got to wait a couple months for some more. Anyway, feel free to comment on your experience with a Fuji film or with a Nikon Fg-20 series camera. Or even some of the older all-in-one lenses. Tamron had a bunch of them. I'm just using them as an example, but there was a 28-200, 28-300, and when you got into digital, there was 18-200s, 18-250s, 18-270s, 18-300s, or no, 16-300s and 18-400s. So there was a whole bunch of like all-in-one lenses. There was a bunch of others by other brands, 28-210s, but kind of all-in-one, trying to save you from changing lenses in the middle. Feel free to subscribe as new episodes come out about every Friday and every Saturday, with bonus episodes and shorts coming out every now and then. I did a short on how to load an old manual camera with some nice close-ups. So if you bought a brand new camera, watch that episode. It'll show you how to load it without maybe losing a shot or two. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.